welcome back everybody. My name is Tim. This is another Real Ideal Gear review. And today we're looking at my entire Casio collection. I've got them all out here. A fistful of Casios. Matter of fact, there's like 3 or 4 fistfuls of Casio watches. And I added to this list just recently. I've added a few more. There's a couple there, a couple here. Let's see, what else do we have? The one back in the corner back there. So I've added a few, and I've got one more on the way. And man, I sound like an expected Casio father. But yeah, so we're going to go through the Casio bigs today. We're going to go through this section right here in front, and all the mids and smalls back here we'll talk about in another video. But we're going to go through the bigs today and talk a little bit about why I like to wear certain watches for certain occasions. What do I look for when I'm wearing a watch, especially on the big side. And I tend to wear the bigs more than I wear the mids and smalls. I really do. And part of it is I have a above average sized wrist. I don't have a massive wrist or anything like that, but as a matter of fact, we'll talk about this here in a few minutes here. I've lost 30 pounds for one major reason, but that being the case, my wrist size shrank a little bit as well. So the bigs, I really like the bigs. I think the size is great. They tend to be a little bit more legible as well. And so that's part of what we're going to talk about. It's like, what do I wear? Why do I wear it? What do I look for when I'm picking a watch like this of this size? Are there characteristics I'm looking for? We'll go through all of that. And yeah, it's going to kind of overlap some of the other videos I've done on the Casio big watches as well. But this is more conversational style, so if you have any comments on that, just let me know. We have these watches are the watches I tend to wear most often, are the big watches. Now, what is it about these watches that I choose to do or choose to wear? What is it about them that makes them so interesting to me? Well, let's take a couple of them off the list. I say a couple, one of the bigs and one of the smalls back here. And they're both kind of the same reason. I want to bring them both out, even the small one out, and just briefly talk about it. But it's really this one, the DW290. Just not a fan of it. I don't like the look of it. I don't like the display. It is dated in that sense, and maybe that's part of the issue, is that it hasn't really been updated in a way that I think would be, I don't know, it might be helpful if they would update this a little bit more 2020. At the same time, this is the style of watch that was made for the Mission Impossible movie. And I love the movie. The watch is great for the historical perspective, but as far as the overall look and the display size, things like that, I'm just not a fan of it. I'll give you an example here. I'll pull up the square, and you can see the difference in the numbers on the display just are not what I prefer. The square is a little bit bolder, has a thicker number on there, a little easier to see without my reading glasses on, and it's a little bit bigger than the DW290. And this is a smaller watch. You know, when you look at the case diameter or the case, the measurement across the case, it's smaller. And yet the numbers are smaller on this watch. So these are some of the things that I just don't really appreciate about the DW290. Now, I appreciate the history of it. I have it because of the history. And I'm going to keep it that way. I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm going to hang on to it. And, Urban Gentry was saying how these were going to be sold out and these are going to become valuable someday. I don't know. Maybe in 100 years, it'll be worth, $50, $55 maybe. I don't know. But to me, it's really kind of just the piece that, I wear it because of the history of the movie. So that's why I have it. I'm not a huge fan of it. The other one is going to be the FW or the F91W. I just can't stand this watch. You guys have heard me rail on this watch before. This watch is really best suited as a backup watch, as a total beater watch. And I've had guys say, well, it's so light on the wrist, you don't even know it's there. Yeah, because it's a piece of crap. I just don't like it. I don't like the functionality of it. It has the basics. I like that. It has the alarm, stopwatch. I think that's it, right? Yep, alarm and stopwatch. And as a backup alarm clock for traveling, this is great. And I think I'm going to start bringing this as my alarm clock, because it is loud. Check out my video on the volume levels of alarms for all of these watches. Now, I've got a bunch on here that I haven't done because they were purchased after that video. But it really points out the fact that when you have some of these watches that are non-G-Shocks and smaller watches like this F91, you tend to get a louder alarm signal, all right? And for an alarm clock, that's important. It wakes you up. So that's another reason why, another watch I just don't like. I'm never going to wear the F91. I can't stand it. But I do have it because it's a legendary watch. 4 million units sold a year of those. And who knows how many are sold to terrorists, but 4 million units sold a year. That's an impressive number. Huge number. So I can respect that. I can respect the legendary status of the F91. I can respect the status of the DW290. Now, let's get into the watches that I actually like. So I've got those out of the way. I've complained long enough. Let's get into the GBDH 2000. Now, I'm going to blame Jim Kincaid over at his channel for my recent addiction to some of these larger G-Shock watches. I was never really a huge fan of the larger G-Shock watches. They just were too much watch on the wrist, height-wise off the wrist. Wearing a long-sleeve shirt or a jacket that had kind of that elastic cuff became a problem. And so, it's one of those things that I can't do it. But now, I love this watch. This is a great watch. Now, this is a smartwatch, but this is the kind of smartwatch I can tolerate. I tolerate it because I can get about a month's worth of use out of this before I have to charge it up again. My number one complaint with all smartwatches is the reliance on charging them about once a week. Some of them are every other day. Some of them are every day. I had a Casio watch. I'll put a picture of it here. I had a Casio watch that was a smartwatch that had the GPS map function on there. It had all the ABCs, altimeter, barometer, compass on there. It had the stopwatch. And it was an app function, so you'd scroll through the screen like you would a smartwatch. And that power lasted about a day and a half to 2 days. All right, and I wasn't using the GPS map function. And it drove me nuts. And I don't like being notified of emails and text messages. I tried it when I was superintendent of a school district, and it was helpful to know that you got stuff, but it became this annoying thing that every time my watch vibrated, I'd look at my watch. It would interrupt anybody that I was talking with. When I was at home, it interrupted me at home, because at the time, I only had one watch. It was that watch, and I have since graduated to a lot more. But the smartwatch really started to bother me. So I have the text message and the email message notification turned off. I don't want it. I don't want that to interrupt my day anymore. If I want to know what's going on, I'll take my phone out of my pocket and look. Otherwise, and my phone doesn't vibrate either with text messages or emails. I'm really pretty serious about that as far as interrupting my day and just not being totally tied to electronics. Love the watch. Great MIP display. It has all the functions. You've got your health functions, heart rate, O2 sensor. You've got your workout, cardio status. You can do activity logs. So this is your workouts. You've got the almanac for moon phase and sunrise, sunset. And then you've got your ABC, altimeter, barometer, compass. And what else is down here? Let's see. World time and timer, which is also really good. Stopwatch. And the other thing that I think is really important is that this is Bluetooth enabled. So all the settings on here go through your smartphone, which I like that actually. I don't want to go through all the different, all the buttons and it takes forever to do that kind of changes. So going to my smartphone makes it very, very easy. So I actually like it. It is a chunky watch. This is a high profile watch off the wrist. The chunky factor on this one, I believe, is like 3, which is really, really chunky. Okay, when you put that up here against the Casio, you can see how the Casio slips under jacket cuffs, long sleeve cuffs, much, much easier, right? It's almost, I would say it's like 2/3 the height of the GBDH 2000. So really, this is a great watch when it comes to low profile. And this is a G-Shock. All right, it's a G-Shock. Now, the display on here sucks. Like, you can't read that display. Look at the display on this one. Okay, it's terrible. But as far as an analog watch, kind of a classy looking, APO kind of thing, yeah, it's pretty cool. But the chunkiness factor on this one's really high. Another one that's really high is the Big Sky, this W736. I love this watch. Now, the feature I love most about this watch is the vibration alert. I've sold my lawn business. I'm no longer doing that. Part of because of my life transformation and becoming more family focused and that. And so now I have a white collar job working for Discovery Education, training teachers. And what I do is I set my vibration alerts on this watch and another watch I'm going to show you here in a second, so that I have a 5-minute buffer to get to question and answers with the teachers. And so it vibrates on my wrist. Nobody knows it's going off. Only I know it's going off. And when I start my presentation, this is set for 13 minutes and 6 seconds. So I hit start, and 13 minutes and into this, it's going to vibrate on my wrist. Nobody knows it's going off, and I'm aware of hey, you got 5 minutes left. You need to do your question and answer session. And so I love that feature about this watch. I think that's a huge, huge advantage. I wish all the Casios had a vibrate alert on it because of that thing alone. Let's see here. Stop, reset, and we'll get back to where. All right. Now, another great feature about this watch is the light on this. You'll see the numbers go from dark to light. So that means the dial doesn't light up completely when you press the light button. It's just the numbers that go from dark to light colored so you can see them at night. awesome, awesome light. So this is a great nighttime light. This is a great discrete alarm watch. It fits really well, and the price is like 30 bucks. I mean, how can you go wrong with this? Now, this has the super illuminator. It's 100 meters of water resistance, and it's a 10-year battery on here. You know, a 10-year battery is about as valuable as Tough Solar. I think Tough Solar is just a hair more valuable. I prefer Tough Solar. But a 10-year battery, like if you change the battery once, you're going to get almost 20 years of use out of this watch before you have to put another battery in. 20 years. Think about how much life changes during 20 years. Okay? Great, great, great watch. All right. Now, let's go to these two guys. The GD350. I love this watch. This to me is the watch. Now, part of the reason I wear the big watches is it looks cool. I mean, there's a toughness factor that goes along with this. I'm willing to admit it. I like it. You know, you feel a little Arnold Schwarzenegger like when you put a watch on like this. And I don't let it go to my head. It's just one of those things like, yeah, it looks pretty cool. But these watches actually have a long history with the military. The GD350 is worn by a lot of military folks because it really has great crystal protection. It has the vibration alert. So if you have, let's say, whatever coordinated thing you're going to do, there is no audio that goes with it. It's all vibration on the wrist. It has a great display, and this is for the negative display, this is one of the only negative displays I've come across that I can actually legitimately use, and you get a great look at this from just about any angle. Now, when you start going left and right, you start getting into the polarizing part of the crystal. But up and down, you can see this at pretty significant angles before it totally disappears. So I love the negative display on this one. This is one of the best, regular negative displays that's not an MIP. This is an MIP display. And the MIP display, there is none of that fade that you're going to get that you would off of a typical negative display. Vibration alert, it also has the automatic light function on here. Now, this does not have Tough Solar, so what happens when you press and hold this, you'll see this upper left quadrant in the dial up here. You'll see that light up. I'm going to hold this down. All right, there it goes. So now the automatic light feature. So when I tip my wrist up, the light goes on. All right, and the same thing here. This is the negative display of the light, so it doesn't light up the entire dial, whereas the positive display, yeah, it's going to light up the dial. You're going to have more light splashing out of the watch. So tactically speaking, this may not be the one for you if you're more in the tactical mode when it comes to military or law enforcement. This would probably be the one to go with. But you have that automatic light feature, and of course that's the same thing on the positive display. Hold the light button down, and you'll see that quadrant darken on this one. And now they both, when it's dark, the light will turn on automatically. Now, this goes off after 6 hours. So it doesn't stay on the entire time, hence because it doesn't have the Tough Solar, and you would go through the batteries a lot quicker. Love those two watches. Now, we've already talked about the DW290, and let's see. Oh, the AE1500. This one gets a lot of love out there. All kinds of colors, case colors, strap colors. Great watch. Again, 25 to 30 bucks. The most legible watch I have ever come across, hands down. I have never seen a more legible watch than this one. This is fantastic. What I don't like is the second counter on the side. What a waste of time. Put a battery indicator level over there. Do something that's actually, I have the seconds right here. Why do I need a 10-second countdown and a count up on the side? It's just, it adds motion, I guess, to the watch. So to me, that's just unnecessary. All right, great display. You've got the 5 alarms. You've got the timer. You've got the stopwatch, dual time. Very simple, very straightforward. Good light. This is an amber-colored light. I don't know if you can see this. I got a light on the camera here, so it's going to wash all that out. Just a great watch, and it has a longer strap. I believe you can get this with a longer strap or the shorter or the typical regular strap, but you can also get it extra long. So if you have the extra big wrist, if you have the sausage wrist, you could do that with this one. Great watch. Has kind of the G-Shock feel to it. It has the ratcheting keeper system in here, so it keeps the keeper from moving around too much, and which keeps the tag end of your strap from flopping out. All right, next up, WS1700. Not a huge fan of this one. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've worn this since I've done the review. Loaded with features, moon phase, tide phase. You have the tide graph. You also have the analog dial up here at the top, which I think is a waste. Don't give me the analog dial. Just give me something that's worthwhile. The battery level indicator, let's put that in there. So I'm not a huge fan of just extraneous things that are like this dial up here. It just doesn't sit well with me. Like, this is the time here. It's the exact same time up in the dial. Why? Why would you do that? You know, again, put a battery level indicator up there, put something else up there. I don't know. Something that's more worthwhile. Now, the height off the wrist. This is a tall watch. It's a chunky watch. Here's the AE 1500. Similar design, similar height. You can see that the buttons are a little bit closer together on the WS 1700. I call this one the Zebra. No, this is the, not the Zebra. Let's see. I don't have the Zebra anymore. This is an outdoor watch. Never mind. But the height off the wrist, it's a pretty tall watch. Okay, cost-wise, it's on the lower end of cost. This is on the cheap side of the wallet, so that's good. Do I wear this watch a lot? No, partly because some of the stuff I just can't see without my glasses on. And really, I'm not that interested right now in the tide. I would be more interested in that when I was fishing. I'd be really interested in this when it comes to full moon. And actually hunting right now has been pretty good. Full moon, new moon, that's the best time to hunt. You usually get your bigger animals that time of the month. So anyway, I do like it. I just don't wear it very much. Has the ratcheting keeper system on here, which really helps with the keeper. So there's that one. Now the Casio Oak. This is not a large watch. This is kind of in that medium category, but I brought it up here because I just think it kind of fits. It's a larger style watch. It's not like large when it comes to these guys over here. They're not in the same category when it comes to G-Shock, but this is a G-Shock watch. What I love about this is the refined look. It's a low profile, and the CF factor on this I think is close to 4. It's outstanding when it comes to proportions. So it has a really low look on the wrist. Even though it has some height to it, because it's a wider case diameter, it feels and looks like it is a lower profile watch. Great features on here. What I don't like about this is the display. So do I wear this? I don't really wear this unless I'm just looking for the time. But if I needed to do any kind of timing stopwatch, timer type stuff, I'm not wearing this watch because I can't see the display without my glasses on. And at the same time, I'd rather have a watch that vibrates if I'm using my timer, and rather than have a audible alarm that goes off. So to me, that's just not something that I typically wear. I love the look of it. So if I want a Casio that looks a little more refined, I'm grabbing the Casio. Now, one of the watches I went back and purchased is the MRW 200, the Magpie. Love this watch. Fantastic little $20 watch. It's obviously it's a quartz movement, but it's analog movement only, day date, and it is so legible. I love this watch. The hour hand is so much different than the minute hand. You can really tell the difference between the two. You have a friction bezel. It goes either way, and it's not that easy to turn, but I certainly would not use this if you're doing any kind of serious diving because it can get bumped and move. You don't want to do that. Great watch. And as a matter of fact, take a look at the strap. When I had this other one, I tried to do an oil-filled video on this where I took the case back off and filled this with oil and to make it ultra deep. And what I ended up doing was destroying the watch. But I salvaged the strap off of that watch and put it on my Gray Man, the W800H. And I love the strap on this watch. It works great. It has a little bit more of a, I don't know, outdoorsy type look to it. So you can see that the straps are the same on here, but I swapped it off of the one that I busted up and I put it on the Gray Man. I love it. So it's back. I love it. I do wear it. I just love the legibility of this watch, and the cost, again, it's like $20 and it's great. 100 meters of water resistance. I'm not sure how long the battery lasts on this one. It's got to last a few years. It's just an analog watch. There's nothing else that's being run on there. So anyway, I love that watch. Highly recommend it. Now, again, that's the medium size. This is not a really big watch. Matter of fact, it's smaller than the Casio Oak. All right, but it kind of has that bigger watch look to it. So that's why I put it in here. So there you go. Those are the couple that really don't belong, but I think they're great. Now, this is the MTD. Was it 17? MTD 17 or 1074. This is a hard watch to find online. You're not going to see this one around much. I got this off of Amazon, and I think that's the only place I've been able to find it is on Amazon. This is a great looking Casio watch. I love the looks of this. And it has a unidirectional, nice clicky sound, and it lines up perfectly back on the 12. Awesome watch. I love it. I love the minute hand being red. I always love a little splash of color on the dial. For those of you who watched my channel before, I love that, especially in the second hand. The hour hand and minute hand are different from each other. Easy to watch, to read. The chunkiness factor of this watch is low. This is a great looking watch. It has a lot of polish on it, so it has a little more refined look to it. And I put an FKM tropical strap on here, which is great. It's not a quick release, but it does work. It does work really well. I love the look of this versus the strap that was on it. It was garbage. I took it off right away and put this on, and I love the look. So this is a harder watch to find, the MTD 1704, the 1074. So if you're looking for it, it's going to take a little bit. Yeah, it's 100 meters of water resistance. That's all the information off the back. I don't remember how long the battery lasts on this. I would say 5 years. I don't know if it's 10 years, but let's just say it's about 5 years. Great watch. I love this watch. I wear this watch quite a bit, actually. And I wear it because it's a more refined Casio. It's analog. It's quartz, so it's grab and go. I love it. All right, what we haven't talked about yet is, let's go to these two guys. These are two new ones. And these are the MW610. This is the red version and the blue version. I'm going to give one of these away. I'm not going to do it yet, but I'm going to give one of these away. I'm going to do the review on this. I've been taking the photographs and thinking about the watch. I've been wearing it a little bit, and I love the looks of this watch. Now, this is kind of a higher profile off-the-wrist watch for an analog watch, analog only. But it has, I don't know, it works. I like the baton hour indicators in there. I love the handset, the hour handset. The hour hand is different from the minute hand. The second hand is great. On this blue version, you get a yellow second hand, which I think is awesome. And you get a little splash of yellow at the top of the 12 and the 6 o'clock hour markers. A little bit of red on the 6, a little bit of red on the top of the 12. Actually, it's on the quadrants. It's on the red, yellows over here. Yeah, there's yellow on all these. So the quadrants have a little touch of color on there. Same thing on the red dial. So I'm going to put this out there that I'm going to take your opinion on which one I should keep and which one I should give away. So put in the comments down below what you think. Which one should I keep? Which one should I give away? And we'll straighten out the giveaway here pretty soon. I got to do the review first. Pretty easy watch to set. It has the date. It does not have the day date on here. I think the Magpie was, day date. So that's a day date as well. And the MTD 1074 is only a date, which I like that. Okay, you're not trying to cram too much stuff in there. I don't mind the day in there. It just seems like you're cramming it in. So I really like the looks of this watch. It fits well. Ratcheting keeper system on here. So that's good as well. For me, I have average size wrist, maybe slightly above average size wrist. Not a big deal when it comes to the fit. All right, now the one that I've always liked is the PRW 6600. This is my favorite Casio. I've had this the longest of all the watches on the table. And this is the watch that's tough solar, multi-band 6, grab and go, has the best strap ever. This is such soft, supple rubber. I'm not sure what kind of rubber this is. I don't know if it's natural or what it is, but this is like the best rubber ever. Now, I wish the holes were closer together. You guys know that I don't like the Casio straps at all because they're just too far apart. So you end up with it too tight, maybe just a little bit too loose, or it fits just perfect. And then when you're outside working out, you're doing something, it gets too tight. It's like, well, if I loosen up, it's too loose. So I've never liked the spacing of the holes on the straps of Casios, with the exception of the GBDH 2000, which is totally, you can see this, how the holes, let's get them side by side here. You can see how the holes, all right, will line up right here. Okay, these guys are lined up. But then you can see there's more holes on the GBDH 2000, so you can actually dial in the fit on this watch. Please, can you do that to the rest of the straps? Come on, let's do that. Love it. All right, analog digital. To me, the digital on here is so much better. When you look at the digital on the Casio, obviously it's way too small. But when you look at the digital on this display, it works. It has a light button. Here's your light button down here, very discreet actually. It lights up the dial and it lights up the digital display. It does a great job. These hands and hour markers are also loomed so that you can charge them up with UV light, and you'll get some of that as well. So you get a little bit of that kind of classic analog look and feel. 100 meters of water resistance, multi-band 6, tough solar, has the ABCs, altimeter, barometer, compass. What else does it have on here? Stopwatch, dual time, all that stuff, right? And basically, if you want to go G-Shock, you go get the Mudman. All right, Jim Kincaid, sorry, buddy. I got the metal bezel emergency responder model. And that's what this is. This is the metal bezel emergency responder model. I don't know what the model number is, but it has the metal bezel. So what Jim Kincaid did over his channel, he found out that the plastic bezel that goes around here was starting to warp. Now, I don't know if it had to do with having diesel fuel on it or what, But I was waiting for a metal bezel one to come out because of his review. So I thank you, Jim, for the review on that, because I was not going to get one with or keep one that had the plastic bezel. Now I did a review on one that had a plastic bezel, but I promptly returned it as well. So the metal bezel for me was a real selling point to get this one. Also, I was a former cop, so the emergency responder thing was, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go along with that. And I do like the legibility of the Mudman. The Mudman is great. The Rangeman does not have quite the same legibility because look, when you put the numbers in the center of the display, of a round display like this, you're going to get, let's take out the AE1500 again. This is another one. Center display, okay? When you put it in the center display, you get so much more space to work with. But when you start putting it at the bottom, I'm going to pull up the GD350. Okay, this is what happens when you put the numbers at the bottom. If they just swap that around and put the numbers in the center and the day and the date and all that stuff in the GD350, if they'd have put that at the bottom, so much better. It would have been so much better, I think, for legibility reasons. But they didn't do that. Now, you have kind of more of a smartwatch look to this, but it really is a smart use of space, I think, what it comes down to. So I really, really like the Mudman when it comes to legibility. There's no question that the Mudman is far more legible than the Rangeman when it comes to the display here. Now with the metal bezel, I think this is probably the version of the Mudman. As Jim Kincaid says, this is the toughest Casio watch out there. I think this is probably the one right now. Metal bezel, everything else about it is just awesome. You've got the extra gaskets on here to keep the mud out of the pushers. It's just tough as nails. You got the comfort wedges on here. Yeah, it's good. Now, one other thing, when I did the review on this about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, when I was going through Casio month, when I did the review on this, I had a hard time getting the multiband 6 to link up and sync up with this watch. I couldn't do it from the house. I couldn't do it up on, I have a ridge on my property. I go up on the ridge, maybe it's like a bunch of trees are getting in the way. It didn't happen there. I took the watch out with me in the car and went on top of not a mountain, but a very, very high ridge that had no obstructions whatsoever. I could not get it to sync up with the satellites. I had this watch show up. It synced up inside my house, kind of close to a window. So I really think I had a lemon. So if you've watched that other video, I think that watch was a lemon. This watch synced up right away. And that was the same case I had with the Rangeman when I was doing the comparison. The Rangeman synced up inside my house relatively close to a window. So I was like, man, the Rangeman does this, but the Mudman doesn't. So I immediately was like, yeah, this Mudman may not be as good as it looks. Well, now I've got a second one, and it is when it comes to the syncing up with the multiband 6. So love the watch. It has all the features. Okay. Let's see, what is this? The sunrise, sunset. This is your reception, or your recording, I'm sorry. If you do altimeter stuff, you get a recording. This is your stopwatch, timer, alarm, world time, and then this is your remote. So this is 2 minutes after midnight. It'll do an update. It was received last on the 22nd of November. I think that's when I actually had the watch do that, because it's been inside the house, like in the center portion of the house. And there we are, back to the time. Okay, great watch, love it. Does it surpass the PRW 6600? No, I like the analog look. I like the ticking hand. When I hit the compass feature on here, let's see, the compass feature, there it is. You'll see the second hand moves around. Okay, it's going to point to north. There we go. Okay, and then you get your readout down below as far as the actual position. So I like this watch a little bit better. I'm a little bit more, I don't know, I lean more towards the analog now. I like the looks of it a little bit better. But yeah, the Mudman is it's actually the updated version probably of all the features that are on the Pathfinder. This is the G-Shock version of it without the analog piece. So there you go. That is the Bigs. I like these. I like wearing them. I like wearing them for a variety of different reasons, for work. When it comes to wearing them for casual use, I tend to go with some of the watches that have the lower profile look to them. Let's see here. The Casio would be one. The Magpie would be another one. These are the watches that I tend to wear when I'm really concerned about cuffs on long sleeves. Let me see if there's anybody else. I think that's pretty much it. Sometimes, and I love the GD350. I'll wear it anyway. This is probably my second favorite watch is the GD350, whether it's the negative display or the positive display. it's awesome. So to me, these are the ones that I probably wear the most when it comes to long sleeve shirts and not working outside. If I'm doing stuff outside, I'm going big. I'm going with the GD350. I'm going with the Mudman. I'm going to go with the, I don't wear the GBDH 2000 outside for work. I do wear it for hiking and camping because it has the compass feature on there. I wear the Pathfinder as well for that because it's a compass feature. But I do wear, I do wear these when I'm presenting, okay? And unfortunately, I don't know of any other G-Shocks out there or Casios that have the vibrate alert that have a lower profile than these. I would love to get one because I absolutely love the vibrate alert on the wrist when it comes to the timer. Now you can get that off the GBDH 2000, but this is actually taller than the GD350s. So from that perspective, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to go with the GD350. It's a lower profile watch. So there's some of the reasons why I wear the watches. As far as buying them, what do I go with when it comes to buying them? Legibility, legibility, legibility. I have to have watches that are more legible. And so from that perspective, I'm looking at the size of the digits on the display. I'm looking at analog watches that have a large enough display where it's just easier to read. And for me, this is where the MTD does a great job. Okay, it's fantastic. The Magpie, great job. I love it. Love the legibility. When it comes to digital displays, you're not going to outdo the AE 1500. You're definitely not going to outdo the GBDH 2000, although I have another one coming in. It's the GBD 300, and I think it's going to put this guy on some kind of hot coals, I think, because the cost of this watch is so incredibly high. I think the GBD 300 is like, I think I bought it for $140, $130, something like that. And the simplicity of it is great. But the vibration alert, I use this for presentations. So yeah, I'm going to sacrifice the height. I'm going to go after the function because I need the warning that doesn't beep and let everybody else know that, I've got my time limit starting to arrive when it comes to the end of my presentation. So those are some of the reasons. Now, I do like these two guys. I'm going to keep one. I'm going to leave that up to you. Put in the comments down below what you think of these guys. Which one should I give away? Which one should I keep? Okay. And yeah, I'm going to wear these guys. I do like the looks of these. Now, why do I like the looks of these? Very legible to read. The hour hand is very distinct from the minute hand. And I'll give you an example of when that's not the case on another analog watch. This is an NMI analog watch. When you look at the hour hand and the minute hand, it takes a little bit more. They're different, but it takes a little bit more for the distinguishing of the hour hand from the minute hand, especially when they get close together or they are on top of each other, like here's the Zelos swordfish. All right. So yeah, when you have a distinguishing handset, here's another one. This is the Steel Dive. And these, I'm doing reviews on these. The Steel Dive right there has that Mercedes hand on there, which obviously is different from the minute hand. So that's another thing that I look for is legibility. When it comes to analogs, I want the hour hand to be distinct from the minute hand for sure. And that helps. It helps me out. Also, color can do that. So when you look at the MTD, the minute hand is definitely distinct from the hour hand, even more so with it being red. And again, splash of color on a black watch like that, it's just cool looking. Got some polish on the side. So yeah, this is more of a watch I would wear casually, maybe even professionally, because it does a great job. And you've got the timing function. I can set the timer on here. Just turn this around to the minute. There we go. And there's the elapsed minutes that go by. This is a great little watch. If you can find one, I highly encourage you to get one. It's really cool. And the strap sucks. You have to make sure you get a strap. Have a strap ready when you get it because I think the strap sucks. So there you go. Put in the comments down below what you think of this. It's a longer video. It's conversational. Yeah, I spent a few minutes talking about my faith and what was going on. And I'd love to hear any comments about that as well. If you have any concerns or if you're in a situation like that, I'd love to pray for you. And so put that in the comments as well. You can just share that, hey, would you pray for me? But that's definitely something on my mind. But I'd love to hear what you have to say about the bigs. What do you think of this? I've got one more coming, and it's the GBD 300. I think it's on the big category. So unfortunately, it didn't work out for this video because it's not here yet, but it's going to be coming. I've got a handful of Casios. I might do another Casio month because I've got so many new Casios that came in and really hammer away at the Casios that are out there. But I've also got some other AliExpress watches. All right. This is a Rudland, an homage to the Omega. It's a quartz movement. It's awesome. Love it. And so anyway, yeah, check out the videos. Check out my webpage, realidealgear.com. I'm going to be selling a bunch of watches. As of right now, I need to get rid of some of these watches. And so you're going to see a bunch of them, especially my analog mechanical watches. A bunch of those are going to go up for sale. Some of these Casios are going to go up to sale with a flashlight that goes with them. I think it's a great starter kit for EDC. So check out the webpage, realidealgear.com. Let me know what you think in the comments. You guys have a great day. Be blessed.